As an outsider, when I was thinking about POC, I think that there were some problems that I was noticing, and I was confused about some of the ways that people were talking about others who weren't a part of the POC house, and especially the conception of whiteness and not allowing white people in. But getting to know the community more, being in the house, learning about people, I understand that it's a community space that's super necessary in light of the way that the rest of UC Berkeley works.
There is like anti-blackness in this house. I've had like anti-black experiences. I've witnessed anti-black experiences. I hope POC house members can have and continue to have like more critical conversations about what it means to be a person of color and what it means to navigate this world with certain privileges that black people don't have.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about another story that involves how the so-called progressive left, the race crusaders, are not actually progressive. They're actually regressive. And they're not race crusaders. They're actually just racist, right? They're just flat out racist. As apparently at Berkeley, a co-op, a person of color theme house has banned white guests from common spaces. Now, again, we talked about stories like this, okay? Namely, the story from ASU, Arizona State University, where you had the two woke girls that got upset because two white people were sitting in the diversity center or whatever, and they were studying, okay, and they had Chick-fil-A cups and Bash Pro Shop hats and, Blue Lives Matter stickers or something that triggered the so-called students of color, right? And that whole thing went viral. You guys remember that?
What did I do wrong?
You have a better. You're offensive. Police lives matter?
You have the same sticker.
We're just trying to do school.
What?
You guys have the same sticker of the other.
But this is our space.
We've got a Police Lives Matter sticker and we're getting kicked out. Can't do school. You just said we have to leave.
No, I said you're making the space uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
But you're white. Do you understand what a multicultural space? It means you're not being centered.
White's not a culture?
No, it's not a culture. White is not a culture. Say it again to the camera. You think whiteness is a culture?
This is insane.
So anyways, this is the violence that ASU does, and this is the type of people that they protect. Okay, this white man thinks he can take up our space, and this is why we need a multicultural space, because they think they can get away with this shit.
I'm gonna sit here the whole time, and you can find somebody to kick me out.
That's cool. We will.
We're not kicking you out. We're asking you to leave. If you
Yeah, this right here is somewhat similar in the sense that, once again, we have woke college students trying to ban white people from simply taking part in society, right? Or spaces that have been deemed to be for students of color only. So with that being said, I want to read about this because, again, this is ridiculous, man, how this is happening at our universities. Students move into the POC house to, quote, be able to avoid white violence and presence, rule state. These people soft, bro. They soft. White guests are banned from the common spaces at the Person of Color House, an off-campus housing option for Berkeley students, according to a photo of the guest rules recently posted on Reddit. Under a section labeled, quote, guests in common spaces, it states, quote, guests are not allowed in common spaces, but please be mindful if there are house members in the room beforehand. White guests are not allowed in common spaces. See intro. So they're not allowing white people into common spaces because apparently that exposes them to potential white violence and white presence. And that's supposed to be triggering. Again, I don't know what white violence is. I don't know what that is. And being in the presence of white people, if that triggers you, you got some problems, right? You have some serious issues. It sounds like you might actually be racist, right? That's what it sounds like. The POC House intro states in part that many members moved in to be able to avoid white violence and presence. When students do bring a guest, the rules direct them to announce it in the house guest chat and note if they are white. So you got to give a signal. You got to give a warning to everybody. There's white people here, right? Look out. Wow. But it's not just white guests who are unwelcome. Quote, avoid bringing parents/family members that express bigotry. The rules continue. Queer, black, and indigenous members should not have to avoid common spaces because of homophobic or racist parents or/slash family members. Wow. Again, these people, it's almost as if they never went through any controversy or adversity in their life at all, right? Nothing. Okay, they're soft, right? They're soft as toilet paper, man. They can't deal with anybody that they think has a bad thought about them, right? Again, it really blows my mind. This is the younger generation. The Person of Color theme house, a 5-story, 30-room home that can accommodate up to 56 students, exists to serve, quote, low-income, first-generation, migrant, and marginalized students of color. So it sounds to me like this is the equivalent of frat houses, but for wokes, right? These are woke revolutionary frat houses. That's what this is. That's what it sounds like. It's a part of the Berkeley Student Cooperative, a nonprofit housing cooperative established to provide affordable housing to Bay Area college students. Since it was established in 2016, the POC House has faced its share of internal problems. One former member wrote in a Medium article that the house has become known for its, quote, call-out culture perpetuated by the lack of intersectionality. Quote, several members have been criticized for being white/white passing, aligning themselves with whiteness, or allowing white violence in the house, she wrote. So basically, if you're white, or if you're friends with white people, or you have anything to do with white people at all, or perceived to be, I don't know, accepting of whiteness or whatever, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. Again, I wonder, what would these people think? What would they say if there was a house that white people were like, hey, no blacks, right? No so-called people of color, only whites, right? Whites only, okay? And if you're associated with blacks, if you have any friends that are black, you're not welcome here either, right? I guarantee you they would be screaming racism. But there's a reason why they're allowed to get away with this. And I want to read a little bit more here so you guys can understand what's going on here. Stephen Ross, Cooperative Experience Manager for the Berkeley Student Cooperative, told the College Fix that neither the BSC nor the POC House has an official policy excluding white guests from common spaces. White people can and do live in POC House, but the focus for POC House is to provide a safe and supportive living environment for people of color, he said, which means being away from whites. That's what it means, according to these people. And by the way, I mean, if you're white, why would you even want to live there in the first place, right? Why would you want to be in an environment that is always going to be hostile because the people that are there don't like you because of your skin color, right? If I was white, I wouldn't even want to be anywhere close to that place, right? I wouldn't want to be anywhere close to it. However, Ross also noted that each of the 20 BSC houses have their own culture and practices that develop over time. At the POC House, members actively work toward, quote, not making whiteness central to the experience for members living in the house. Ross explained that people of color have been negatively impacted by past events like racist and discriminatory remarks made by former President Trump and police killings, in addition to facing daily experiences of covert or overt racism. Basically, again, anything they don't like, they see as a threat, right? They see as harmful to them, whether it actually really has a material effect on their life at all. It doesn't really matter. Quote, while the members who choose to live in POC House cannot avoid every racist experience, living in POC House gives the members who live there a safe space to process their experiences and feel supported in their living environment, he said in an email to The Fix. So basically, the reason why they're allowed to get away with this is because technically this is private property, right? This is run by private landlords and not the university. So they're allowed to technically discriminate against what they want to discriminate against because it is their house and the school can't do anything about it. But like I said, if this was the other way around, right? And I've heard people complain about this before when I was in college, okay? How they accuse some of these frats, right, that own these houses, right, it's on private property technically, even though it's basically at the university. They say, well, you're racist because you don't allow as many black people or people of color or, you know, gay people, whoever. You don't allow as many people as we think you should allow into your frat, right? So therefore, you're racist. You're racist. But see, when these people turn around and have their own frat houses, guess what they do, right? They become racist. They say, hey, we're not going to allow white people in here. But hey, if I was white, I wouldn't want to be in there in the first place, right? I wouldn't want to be around anybody that constantly tries to tell me that I'm a bad person simply because of the color of my skin. I don't think I would be comfortable in that environment in the first place. This is just another example of these woke revolutionaries who claim to be progressive actually being regressive. They want to take us back to segregation. That's what they want. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.